Hello everyone, welcome to the Tech and Auto Show. I'm your host Manav Sinha and it is so good to see all of you lovely people once again in 2022. This is our first episode of the new year, and if it's not too late, I'd like to say a very happy new year to you and your family. Now, in case you're new here, well, you've just tuned into that one show which will satisfy your hunger for both technology as well as automobiles at one place, which basically means why should you be watching two shows when you can watch one? This one. But just like every time, there's a lot of action that we have lined up for you guys. So let's get to it straight away by first showing you a glimpse of what you can expect over the course of the next half an hour. This week, we'll kick off 2022 with a bang as we've got an exclusive review of the Ducati Supersport 950S. That's not it, we'll also be telling you all you need to know about the Nothing Ear 1 wireless earphones. And we'll also take you for a drive in the Renault Kiger CVT and find out whether this is the compact SUV to buy. So yes, a lot of action there is, and trust me, there's even more than what we've just mentioned. So let's kickstart right away by first kicking off the year 2022 in style. You see, when we talk about style and stylish motorcycles, there's nothing quite like a Ducati, and the latest Ducati to come to India is a Ducati Supersport 950S. I'm very happy to share that we are the first ones to bring you the review of the motorcycle. So take a look at our exclusive review of the Ducati Supersport 950S.
Pretty, isn't it? Now, I am extremely sorry to be interrupting such a beautiful sight, but I have to take a moment to introduce this gorgeous motorcycle to you. Now, most Ducatis are extremely good looking, and in that respect, this is no different. But you have to agree, there is something more to it than just that. Now, from the previous generation model, it has gotten added electronics and a few design updates as well. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please say hello to the Ducati Supersport 950S. Let's get the important facts out of the way first. The biggest change comes in the form of design, starting with the new fairing and headlights up front. Ducati has done a stellar job at making the Supersport's design more like its sibling, the Panigale, but without losing the overall essence and just copy-pasting. Moreover, the Supersport's design is much more aerodynamic than before, with those fresh new air intakes next to the LED headlamps. Other than that, things pretty much remain the same as before. Now, all the things that you just heard are the facts, but surely there's more. And there is. For example, this Arctic white color, those two strips on the alloy wheels, and the fully adjustable Olin suspension is specific to the S model. In fact, this color alone costs an extra 20,000 rupees, and from where I'm standing, it's easy to see why. Now, all the design changes that I mentioned earlier are quite subtle, but you have to say it adds so much more to the Supersport's character. In fact, I feel that this is a lot simpler than some of the bigger bikes that Ducati has in India, and that is a good thing. For example, I really like the fact that it has a conventional key. Some of the other bits I really appreciate is the premium switchgear, that 4.3-inch TFT display, and this well-contoured seat. But most important of all is that 937 liquid-cooled L-twin engine that produces 110 horsepower and 93 Nm of torque. But let's not just look at it, let's put it to the test. Although this is the same motor from the Multistrada and Hypermotard, it hasn't got the bump and power that the Monster just got recently. Nevertheless, the engine feels almost alive thanks to that typical L-twin firing order. It doesn't like staying below the 2000 RPM mark, but beyond it, it progresses with a distinctive raw feel. The acceleration is rather brisk, with the 3 riding modes making a significant difference in the nature of the power delivery. The 6-speed gearbox is a breeze to operate, and the Supersport 950 even comes with a bi-directional quick shifter, which makes things a lot easier. The Supersport 950 likes gliding into corners rather than attacking it, and the slightly relaxed riding position along with the very comfortable seat really add to the whole riding experience. The Supersport genuinely feels like a very capable sports tourer, with even the ride comfort being pretty admirable for a bike with this kind of setup. However, the braking could have been a lot better. The bite just seems to come too late, especially at the rear. Other than that though, the performance is raw and satisfying, and this is a pretty fun motorcycle to ride. Now I know what you're thinking. This is a fully faired motorcycle, it's going to be uncomfortable to ride, but let me put your mind at ease. You see, the clip-on handlebars are not very committed and the foot pegs are pretty neutrally set as well. In fact, if you do wish to go touring, Ducati have thought of you there as well because the windscreen can be adjusted. However, there is one small problem that I did encounter, and that is the rear view mirrors, which are a little small and they vibrate quite a bit when you're on idle or even on the move. However, overall, a pretty good sports tourer. So first things first, the standard version of the Supersport costs rupees 13.49 lakh rupees ex showroom, which puts it against the Kawasaki Ninja 1000 SX and the Aprilia RS 660. But let's put all of that aside for a second. You see, a lot of people refer to this as a more accessible Panigale V2 or a fancier version of the Monster. But in my opinion, it's so much more. It has a soul of its own. In fact, it feels like the White Knight from Ducati's range in India, one that's forgiving and virtuous, one that will stand by your side in hard times and not be a burden. To put it simply, it puts the super back in sports touring, and it does all of that while looking simply captivating.
So there you have it. That was the Ducati Supersport 950S, and I think it's a gorgeous motorcycle. But now it's time to move on to the world of technology, and we're going to talk about a true wireless earbud from a company that's very difficult not to make a pun of. The company is called Nothing, that's really its name, and the earphones are called Ear One. So the thing that we're going to be reviewing up next is Nothing Ear One. So I promise that I will not make any puns about it. Let's get to it straight away and take a look at Nothing. I did it, didn't I?
Not every day do we receive new color options for review, but the Nothing Ear One aren't your everyday true wireless earbuds. That's how the company likes to advertise. Last year we saw the launch of Nothing Earbuds White Color Edition, and today we have this, the black color unit with us. Now the specification of both white color and black color options are the same, so the hype around the new color option is more or less like a gimmick. But then these earbuds cost rupees 7,000 in India. That is significantly lesser than Apple AirPods and some of Galaxy Buds as well. Now the bigger question remains whether the new Nothing Earbuds 1 can fare against rival, and can they manage to nail the basics? Let's find out. There is no doubt that Nothing gave a lot of thought while finalizing the design of these earbuds. We get a transparent body similar to the white color edition, which I personally like. Thanks to the lightweight design, these tiny earbuds rest in your ears comfortably without causing too much discomfort. What is more impressive is the size in which Nothing manages to pack so many features. The square-shaped case supports wireless charging, but the plastic lid is highly prone to scratch marks. Speaking of the performance, the Nothing Ear One support active noise cancellation that we found very reliable during our test. The sound quality is also crisp with decent bass levels. The Nothing Ear One app for Android and iPhones is also very intuitive, and here you can see the battery levels as well. Via this app, users can tweak touch controls or sound modes. The app lets you choose between audio modes like more bass and more treble, but you cannot tweak the equalizer manually. But again, it is common among earbuds in this price range. And if you're wondering how the sound quality is like, here is a sample.
Now, the audio quality on Nothing Ear 1 is very crisp. The quality is sharp with nice depth to it. In fact, I like it better than the Galaxy Buds 2 that we received a few months ago and that cost Rs 12,000 in India.
We finally come to the point where we tell whether one should go for Nothing Ear 1 or the more expensive Apple AirPods or Samsung Galaxy Buds. You see, if your budget is around Rs 7,000, yes, the Nothing Ear 1 are a good option to consider. That being said, these earbuds manage to nail most of the basics. That is, they deliver good audio quality with decent amount of bass, you get good battery backup, and the active noise cancellation is also reliable. Secondly, the charging case supports wireless charging, which is a rarity among rivals in this price range. But again, like any other gadget, the Nothing Ear 1 have some limitations, and these earbuds do not come with voice assistant support. That means if you're one of those who enjoy shuffling music or controlling or giving commands via Alexa, Siri, or Google Assistant, these aren't your best companions.
Now let's move on to some car action, and in terms of cars, the Renault Kiger is one of the most requested cars here at News18, especially after we brought you our long-term review of its cousin sibling, the Nissan Magnite CVT. So, in order to help you out with everything that you need to know, Anirudh has got his hands on the Kiger CVT and he's telling you his review up next.
You know what I think? I think life is like a grand chase to find the sweet spot. You know, the sweet spot between professional and personal life, the sweet spot between healthy food and junk food, and so on and so forth. But if we're talking about the Indian four-wheeler market, I think nothing exemplifies this sweet spot like the compact SUV segment. The perfect balance between India's affinity towards affordability and its love for SUVs. And in such a segment with such intense competition, Renault decided to open its act with this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Kiger, and today we're going to be telling about what the car is all about, what it has to offer to an Indian driver, and whether you should get one of these home. Now, I know looks are subjective, but to my eyes, the Kiger actually scores handsomely in the design department. Now, many have said that this just looks like a beefed up Kwid, and the one question I want to ask is, how is that a bad thing? You see, the Kwid is actually a perfectly nice looking car, and if any learnings have been derived from that to the Kiger, I don't think it's a bad idea at all. The car gets sleek LED DRLs, and I like a few touches like the 3-pod LED headlamp that gives the car a premium appeal.
At the sides, the Kiger gets a sloping roofline, lending it that out of the normal sporty stance that's otherwise uncommon for an SUV. The lines are clean and nothing seems like it's trying hard to impress you.
Now at the back is where I think the Kiger looks the best. I mean, look at it. You pull up behind this SUV and won't this grab your attention? I think it will. It's got a boot stance with a muscular tail and a lot of sporty elements like the split spoiler on top and the C-shaped LED tail lights. Also, the reverse parking camera embedded right there in the Renault logo. I think it's a nice touch. Now, we have established that the Kiger looks impressive on the outside, but if you step inside the cabin, the story is a bit different and you're left wanting for a little more. Now, don't get me wrong, the fit and finish of material is quite laudable, but there's scratchy hard plastics almost everywhere and there's no splash of colors.
Elements like the AC control have been borrowed from the Triber and it looks neat and good to use. We especially love the flat bottom steering wheel that feels good to the touch as well. In terms of technology, the car gets an 8-inch floating touchscreen infotainment system that comes with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. The digital instrument cluster works like a charm and reads out the car information rather nicely. But if you actually look at it, there are a few misses as well. For instance, there is no option of a sunroof here, and features like the wireless charging pad are available with an accessory pack. Also, there is no TPMS, cruise control, or even ventilated seats.
Now the Kiger scores especially well in terms of practicality as well. There is tons of space for storage over here. For example, you get a split glove box on the dash, you get a generous cubby hole in the middle, you get a small space for your knickknacks, as well as 1 liter bottle pockets on each of the 4 doors. Now if you're talking about seats, the seats are a bit firm for my taste, but it is not something that will tire you or make you feel uncomfortable during long drives. The seating position is quite commanding and will give you a better sense of control over your car. Now in the back seat is where the Kiger actually shows off its SUV persona. Now for reference, I am 5'7". The front driver seat has been set according to my height, and you can see that I have ample of knee room. Now 3 passengers can be comfortably set abreast, and if you're seating 2, you also get a central armrest with 2 cup holders and a nifty pocket for your phone. Now considering that this car does have a sloping roofline, Renault has done a good job in preserving the headroom as well. Now anyone who is a little bit taller than me will want a bigger window for better visibility. Now if you're talking about seats, the seats are comfortable. There is good lumbar support and thigh support as well, but it is reclined a bit too steep, but it's not something that will actually bother you even during long drives. Now the boot, it doesn't just stop at being beautiful, it's quite useful as well. You see, the Kiger actually houses a segment leading boot of 405 litres that can carry the luggage of a little over a weekend's trip worth of luggage. But what you must notice is that the boot lip is quite tall, which means it's going to take a bit of effort to load and unload your bags.
Not just that, the second row of seats can be folded, which means helping your friend move to a new house might not take a lot of trips. Now the CVT variant that we drove had the 1 litre turbocharged petrol engine that puts out 100 HP and 152 Newton meters of torque. Now it should be addressed that with the CVT option, the car outputs 8 Nm less torque than the manual version. But the power kicks in earlier in the RPM range and it's spread evenly throughout. Now I have driven the manual and the AMT versions before, and it really feels like the inconsistency in power delivery that I spotted before has been ironed out with the CVT. The CVT, in my opinion, is actually the perfect transmission if you're talking about city commute friendly SUVs. Also, the car gets 3 driving modes, that is Eco, Normal and Sport, that can be toggled with the help of this rotary knob near the gear lever. As the name suggests, Eco mode is aimed at returning more kilometers to the liter, where the engine becomes a bit lazy and the steering is light as well. The Sport, on the other end of the spectrum, brings in a sense of urgency and alertness. The gear shifts are late and there is a bit of weight that's added to the steering wheel as well. And so the Normal seemed like the perfect choice in the city, finding a perfect balance between Eco and Sport. Now Renault has done a commendable job with the suspension. The setup feels plush in the city while managing to retain the confidence-inspiring stability while attacking corners spiritedly. We were actually impressed with how minimal the body roll of the car is. Now the suspension is set up on a plush side, which means that most of the undulations are being absorbed by the suspension, but you can still hear the suspension being worked inside the cabin.
You know what, I'm just gonna say it. The Kiger is actually a damn good car. But what really seals the deal is its price tag that starts at 5.64 lakh rupees ex-showroom in India. For the money that you're paying, the Kiger actually shows its worth for every penny. Hence, got a compact SUV in your mind? Here's one you should not look away from.
Welcome back. You're watching the Tech and Auto Show and I'm your host Manav Sinha. Now as promised, before going for the short commercial break, it's time to take a dive into the world of tablets, and we're going to talk about a tablet that's rather interesting. You see, when we talk about rugged gadgets, we talk about rugged smartwatches or rugged smartphones, but a tablet can be rugged too, as Panasonic has come out with a rugged tablet. What am I on about? Take a look.
So we at CNN News 18 always bring you gadgets that are more for customers like you and I, for the commercial user, the end consumer. But today I have something different for you. Today I have a gadget that is made for the users on the industrial side of things. Let's take a look.
Japanese electronics brand Panasonic has come up with its Toughbook S1. It's a 7-inch Android tablet made for users in extreme workplaces like police services, ambulances, warehouses, and other industries where gadgets need to be really tough. The Panasonic Toughbook S1 is capable of withstanding extreme conditions like sub-zero temperatures and a lot of heat. It can be used for a prolonged time in temperatures ranging from -20 degrees Celsius to 50 degrees Celsius. The Panasonic Toughbook is capable of operating in the rain and can be used while wearing gloves in the hands or an optional passive pen as well. The tablet is drop resistant and comes with optional attachments that include an add-on battery pack, a QR code scanner, a keyboard, and more. Panasonic claims that the New York Police Department and the Uttar Pradesh Police are two of its biggest clients, apart from some other hospitals and warehouses. It is also used by technicians monitoring production lines. As expected, the build quality on the Panasonic Toughbook is sturdy. It is 1.5 meters drop resistant. The tablet comes with a 7-inch display with HD resolution. The display seemed fine for all kinds of usage, even in bright outdoor conditions. The Panasonic Toughbook S1 is powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 660 chipset paired with 4GB of RAM and 64GB of internal storage. The tablet comes with a 13-megapixel rear camera and a 5-megapixel front shooter. We didn't get much time with the product, but it seemed perfectly user-friendly for someone who is working in tough conditions.
So that was it, the highly rugged and highly customizable Panasonic Toughbook S1. We didn't get a lot of time with the tablet, so we weren't able to test it out properly, but it is one of the most interesting products that have come our way in the recent times. Now you can buy the Panasonic Toughbook S1 for about 98,900 rupees, but you will be getting an outdated software and non-flagship level specifications for about 1 lakh. Thank you for watching. Please keep following News 18 Tech.
And with that, we've come to the end of this edition of the Tech and Auto Show. How did you find the show? Is there anything you have to say, anything you want us to cover, or you simply want to have a conversation with us? Well, reach out to us on our Twitter handles. We are more than happy to talk. If it's about technology, you can reach out to us at News18 Tech. If it's about automobiles, tweet out to us at News18 Auto. And remember, by logging on to news18.com, you can read up more on both these industries. Well, that's about all for today. I'll catch you same time next week, only on CNN News 18.